Okay guys, so in the previous video we had learned the differentiation between a workgroup and a domain. And at the end of that video, we had concluded that for a smaller environment, you require a workgroup, whereas for a bigger environment like a company, what you require is a domain. So now, let us learn of how can you create a domain. So, in order to create a domain, what you require is Active Directory. So now, what is Active Directory? The first point to know about Active Directory is that it is an application that comes in the server operating system by default. There are basically two operating systems. One is known as the server OS and second is known as the client OS. What we use in our houses basically is the client OS. For example, Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 10. These are the client operating systems, whereas 2003, 2008, 2012, and lately released 2016 are the server operating systems. What is the primary difference between a client OS and a server OS? The main difference is the presence of Active Directory. This Active Directory is present by default in the server OS, but it is not present in the client OS. Can you download it from the internet? Answer is no. It is not an application that can be downloaded. It is present as a program in the server OS itself. So now what is Active Directory? Basically, Active Directory is a collection of various services. For example, DNS services, DHCP services, file services, print services, load balancing services, web hosting services, mail services, network services, and so on. So you have a lot of services. All of these services are present in your Active Directory. Hence, we call it a collection of services. And these services may be roles or may be features. Role are basically the bigger services and features are added functionalities to the roles. So this Active Directory, it is a collection of various services known as roles and features. And the second thing for which the Active Directory is used is to maintain the user database. All the employees in your company have their own user account. So where are their username and passwords getting saved? Answer is Active Directory. So the Active Directory saves the username and password of all the employees and provides them authentication. Authentication means basically allows them to log in onto their systems, and once they log in into their systems, they can use all the resources of the companies, provided they have the appropriate permissions. So this is the main component of the server operating system, which is known as Active Directory. Now, in order to create a domain, there is a service in this Active Directory which is known as ADDS. ADDS stands for Active Directory Domain Service. Domain service, that means a service that can create a domain for you. So first, what you require is the Active Directory. Within the Active Directory, what you are looking for is ADDS, and with the help of this particular service, you can create, or you may say you can configure your own domain. So what is this domain? Domain basically means a security boundary, or you may say a zone or an area which differentiates you from the rest of the world and provides you security from the outer world, so that not anyone can simply enter your company and try to steal away your data. Now, once when you create the domain, the server which has ADDS installed in it running as a service. So the server having ADDS will now be known as a domain controller. That means the server that can control the entire area, or the server that can control the entire domain. And since it is controlling the domain, hence we call it the domain controller. What does it do? So it maintains information of all users, for example, the username, password. It maintains or saves data about various applications. All possible data can be saved within the domain controller, or you may say within the server. And just for your knowledge, the file in which the data is getting saved, I repeat, the file in which the data is getting saved. For example, the file in which all the username and passwords are getting saved is known as the global catalog. So global catalog is the file in which server saves all the domain's data. So just a small recap. You had server. In the server, you had Active Directory. In the Active Directory, you had a service known as ADDS. With the help of ADDS, you can configure your own domain. And once the domain has been configured, the server becomes the domain controller. That means it will now control the server. And also it will save or store information of all the domain, whether it is the network, or whether it is the applications, or whether it is the username and password of all your employees. So basically what you look for is ADDS in order to create a domain. So in the next video, we will practically install a server and then see how to configure a domain in that server. So stay tuned for the next video where we start with the practicals. Thank you.